Welcome to the after show. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Hey, Luke was here with us.
Yeah, we got a special guest.
I'm so excited. The countdown from 8 to 7 to 6. It's like the last face-off in the Canadian zone. Time running out on the Red Wing season.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to pull the goalie like Torts did last night. That's anyway. Whatever. Let's get to that. So, guys, please welcome to Puck Nation episode number 41. Right?
41.
I can't believe we got to this morning. This is Montreal radio royalty, man. We got Mitch Melnick with us. Mitch, thank you for doing this, man. Yeah. It's an honor and a pleasure.
My pleasure to be on episode Paul Byron.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or to go back, episode Brent Gilchrist.
Oh my goodness.
Mate.
Okay, now I got a reference time. How old are you guys in ages?
We've got like three different
generations here.
Yeah, Yanni, you're in your what?
I'm
you're
32.
You're 32.
I'm 44.
And I'm the geezer here. I'm 55. So.
Okay. Yeah, 44 is a great age, great number. One of the greatest numbers ever in sports. No, seriously, 44
in sports,
is a fantastic number.
Sheldon Surrey.
No, before that, man.
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie
William
Jackson.
McCovey.
Wow.
Keep talking. I'll think of more.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Stefan Richer.
Yeah, Richer was there. Yeah. That's right. Oh, my God. So welcome. Thank you so much again for doing this. This is greatly appreciated, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, my girlfriend is thrilled. She's locked in the other room watching a movie with earphones on.
Yeah.
The 18th Barbra Streisand movie she's watched this month.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, nice.
Nice. She should get together with my cousin. She loves Barbra Streisand.
Yeah.
She has pictures of her all over the... Anyway, whatever. I understand. I don't know. I don't get it. But, Mike, we're musicians, so...
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't
Well,
matter to us.
Speak for yourselves.
She's got talent. I mean,
Absolutely.
got talent.
No shit.
Absolutely.
No shit.
I actually met her producer at a convention in Los Angeles in January. It was actually a pretty amazing conversation I had with him. Yep.
Yeah, well, these guys, this is like creme de la creme, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Streisand, are you kidding me, man? Wow. Mitch, cool. You've been doing this for 45 years. Did you always want to do this? 47?
47.
Jesus.
47. I'll be 65 in June.
God bless.
And I got hired when I was 18. I find it insane that
it is.
Honestly, like, there's no way. I love what I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't have lasted this long. But
yeah.
I just had a passion for it, and it was at a time when it was doable, like a lengthy career. I'm like the last time there was everybody in the business who actually considered it an art form. And and that's not to say there aren't people now who don't view radio as some kind of art form or a great mode of communication or a creative outlet. I know there are people, I work with people who feel that way, but it's spread. Even the people off the air were very artistic in nature, and it wasn't a battle of commerce and art. And that's the only thing that saddens me is I've lasted long enough to see the beginning of the end of commercial radio.
Right. That's terrible, man. Yeah. So you did always want to do this. That's amazing. Yeah. It's not like you just stumbled upon it, you know?
No, I grew up listening to transistor radio under my pillow at night, and there were Clear Channel 50,000 watt US stations that I listened to all the time. I'd listen to the Expos and Canadiens games, and then I'd keep going and flip the dial until I found another game. So a lot of the games in the Central Time Zone ended a half hour later. I kept going out west, and the teams that were in the East who were visiting out west, I was up till 2 a.m. listening to all these games. I was just a radio junkie. 3WE Cleveland, WBZ in Boston, WTIC in Hartford, KDKA in Pittsburgh, WJR Detroit. Yeah, wow. Buffalo. There was a station, I don't even remember the call letters, a station at the very end of the right. It was out of Buffalo. And that's where it was a music station on AM, and that clued me into a lot of great music that wasn't played in Montreal, even on Shome. And WCAU in Philadelphia was another one. They used to have these trivia shows all night. Larry Glick was the guy in Boston who kept me company all night. He knew, he was kind of like before Larry King, somebody who knew a little bit about everything. I could talk about just about any subject. And then Bill Lee, who was pitching for the Red Sox at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was Bill Lee, but I was listening to the Larry Glick show, and I heard this unfamiliar voice, but he was talking busing in Boston, and he was talking about the commissioner, and he was talking about drugs, and he was talking about the Red Sox and dropping Red Sox players using their first names like Carlton or Pudge, Dwight, Dewey, Evans. Yeah. And then I realized this is Bill Lee. Like I had read about him and I saw him pitch a little bit, and I made a connection right there with Bill. If I ever got into radio one day, that's exactly the kind of guy that I would like to hook up with because he was so irreverent but very, very, very intelligent.
And you're doing it till today. He's one of your regular guests on your show all the time.
Yeah, he's less regular than he used to be because his hearing is going, and it's hard on the phone.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, well, terrible. It happens. Hey, my left ear is almost gone. I mean, you guys, in studios, monitors, headphones,
live on stage. Oh man, yeah.
That's the one thing I don't like to look back too much. But if I knew what I know now, I would have put in the earbuds a lot sooner.
My actual doctor told me now because on stage I only wear one because I'm an idiot. I'm apparently not supposed to. Okay, and he goes, "No, man," and I figured the one with the plug in it will be the bad one. He says, it's the other way around. Yeah. It's the other one that's straining.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, whatever. If I would have known, but it's too late now. It's been 20 whatever years of this shit, so forget it.
It's okay. Now you're doing a hockey podcast. So.
Yeah, well, really, but I still need my ears. So,
but I'm sure I'm like you guys. I got to feel the music. And
oh man,
100%, man.
On stage,
I was at the Bonham last night, right? Jason.
Yeah,
Bonham,
how was that?
It was.
Mike, weren't you there?
I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him the first time around in 2010, and I was shocked how good they were. I think every Zeppelin fan in the city was there. It was jammed. Yeah. I thought they ran out of gas a little at the end, but it was cool. It was a very cool show. Bonham is he's very likable. He tells stories. Yeah. He talks a lot during the show. He tells the backstory for some of the songs, how he met some people through his dad, and he's very, very genuine in his affection for Montreal.
Yeah, that's great, man.
I thought it was fantastic. I think when they hit Ramble On, I think that's when it started to really take off the set. That was kind of a high point. And then, the last couple songs, they fell off a bit. But it was still fantastic.
That's great night.
Yeah. That's awesome. Great. That's great. Mitch, I want to, obviously, we're going to talk about Montreal because we're here in Montreal, okay? And I've heard you over the years talk about all the greats who you even, not only did you see, you actually know them, like you know them personally. And you must have been asked this question a million times, okay? I want to know from you, the 70s Canadiens or the 80s Oilers and the 80s Islanders?
My younger brother, who was born just before the opening of Expos 67, so he grew up with me watching dominating Canadiens dynasties, and he got sick of it, so he became an Islanders fan.
Oh
so he will say, like Denny Potvin says, and God bless Mike Bossy used to say, although I don't know if he said it publicly in Montreal anyway, but there are a lot of people who believe the Islanders would have won. I don't buy that. Their goaltending, they had really good goaltending, but they couldn't match Ken Dryden. The Canadiens of the 70s had the big three, Robinson, Savard, Lapointe. They had the best
still
coach.
Hasn't been matched. That's
right.
They
had the best of everything. They had the best player. They had the best line. Lemaire, Lafleur, Shutt. Before that, it was Pete Mahovlich, Lafleur, and Shutt. Steve Shutt still has the record for goals by a left winger, 60 for the Canadiens.
Yeah.
Every night it was a trip. And, the people who say, and I've heard it for decades, well, anybody could have coached those guys. Well, how many people could have coached them to 60 wins and 8 losses? And 12 ties. 12 ties.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
And considering what their winning percentage was, I think it's safe to say they would have won 11 of those 12 games that ended in ties had they gone to overtime. They were just stacked. We had the best broadcaster, Danny Gallivan. We had the best beat writer, Red Fisher. Yeah. We had the best
of everything.
Anthem singer, Roger Doucette.
Yeah, Roger Doucette. Yeah.
We were spoiled rotten, but it was a privilege to not only watch them as a fan. It took forever for me to finally be at the Forum because they always won the cup on the road in the 70s until 79 when they hoisted Gainey on their shoulders when he won the Conn Smythe when they beat the Rangers.
That's a great picture.
But I think the difference with those teams, like the Oilers had the firepower, but the Canadiens had depth through 4 lines. Listen, it's very easy to like the superstars, and we were spoiled. My favorite trio on the Canadiens teams of the 70s, my favorite player was Doug Risebrough.
Wow.
With Mario Tremblay and Yvon Lambert.
Lambert, yeah.
Risebrough never got on the power play for obvious reasons.
Wow.
He had one season where he scored 60 points, playing nothing but 5-on-5. I mean, and that was their third line. It's just they wore a defenseman down. Once they got beat up by the Flyers in the 73 season, Sam Pollock made a point to beef up with some guys who could fight and play. Mm-hmm. And so they also became the toughest team in the league. They beat up the Flyers in an exhibition game before the 75-76 season when they dethroned them as the Stanley Cup champs. And
two-time Stanley Cup champs, right?
That's right. They haven't been back since, right? The Flyers haven't won since.
No.
So the Canadiens were the greatest team that I've ever seen, without question. The Oilers were spectacular to watch, but they didn't have the depth of the Canadiens teams. And the Islanders were just workmanlike and grinded you to death and also had the talent. But they, on the blue line beyond Denny Potvin and in
Not
goal,
much.
they couldn't match up.
Not much, yeah. I totally agree. Being a Leafs fan, that's why I saw. It's like Mitch said when he used to listen to the radio late that night.
Yeah.
I would on CBC. Mitch, remember when the Canadiens game would finish, they would move to the Toronto feed.
Right.
And that's how I became a Leafs fan, because my dad, rest his soul, was the biggest Canadiens fan on this planet. He loved Habs.
So, who's your favorite Leaf?
In my time, I loved Borje Salming. Something about Borje Salming, man. I just loved the way he played. The look on his face, that intensity that he had. I love Borje Salming. I loved Daryl Sittler at the time. You know,
all
those guys, Lanny McDonald, Ian
Turnbull. They had a really good team. You know, it's kind of like the Flames. It's a shame that they never. It's a shame they never won the cup. But it's they got overshadowed. It was like trying to play in the shadow of the Edmonton Oilers. They were the Calgary Flames. The Flames were good enough to win multiple cups. It took them until '89 to finally win one here in Montreal. But they were a Stanley Cup caliber team for a long time before they finally won one.
But they had to cross the Edmonton Oilers all the time, right?
Exactly.
That's the issue. Just like the Bruins, right? How many Bruins fans do we know that always bitch? Oh, but the Canadiens kicked your ass all through the '70s, man. That's
I'm a Bruins fan too.
Oh my God!
There you go.
Oh my God.
Well, I saw Bobby Orr.
Yeah, no shit. You know what, Mitch? My dad said that, and we had this conversation when he was alive. I said, Dad, you've seen them all. Who? He's like, shut up. It's not even a question. Number 4 and this is coming from a Habs fan. He said, nobody played the game like that guy number 4 in Boston. Nobody.
Well, my dad brought me to a game in the late 60s. The first game I ever attended was an old-timers game in 65 between the Canadiens and the Red Wings, and the game was on TV the next day. And I was flipping out as a kid, and that's when I heard Danny Gallivan's voice for the first time, and I just changed my life completely. I wanted to be a play-by-play guy. But then the next time he brought me to a game, I actually told this story earlier today on the radio. It was in the corner of the rink overlooking the net that the Canadiens had for 2 of the periods, and my favorite player was Rogie Vachon at the time.
Rogie. Yeah.
And I was already an Elvis fan when I was 9 or 10. I was. And Rogie had those
sideburns.
The chops.
The Elvis lamb chop sideburns.
The lamb chops, yeah.
And when the play went to the other end of the forum, I had my chance, and I was like, okay, here it goes. And I went, hey, Rogie. And he actually looked, and I said it loud, and he actually looked up to see where that was coming from. So that was the first connection I made with a hockey player for the Canadiens.
Awesome.
But then the next game he took me to see the Bruins, and it was Bobby Orr. And it was like, look, that was like at another world. He was dropped in from another planet.
That's amazing.
And they were booing him. Every time he touched the puck, they booed him.
Because he was too good.
Yes, my dad, I said, what are they doing? And my father said, watch him play. He's just better than Beliveau. And Beliveau was as good as it got.
Yeah. Beliveau was God, yeah. My dad had a stick of Jean Beliveau. Like he bought it or whatever. It just says Jean Beliveau on it. So imagine that. For him to say that Bobby Orr was better than that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's no question.
That's incredible, man. That's incredible.
Crazy.
So I guess we have all the same answer. I mean, the 70s Canadiens. Right? Frank says the same thing.
Yeah.
So I liked the way the Bruins played all those years. I love a lot of their players. Not when they faced the Canadiens, but once the Canadiens were out of the way, and I took pity on them. I mean, 18 consecutive playoff series, the Canadiens knocked the Bruins off. I looked forward to going to Boston in the spring every year, and I knew how it was going to end. It was great.
Yeah, no, Mitch, people still bitch about those days, man. I got friends all over the place. Fucking happy.
I want to bring that up, actually, because you know how everybody talks about the storied rivalry of the Canadiens and the Bruins and the Canadiens. But it's a pretty one-sided rivalry. Like
It was.
For a
For
long
18
time.
years in a
was.
row.
Yeah, I feel like Toronto or even the Quebec Nordiques would have been a much more of a rivalry because it was a bit more evenly matched.
I find that's a little bit more personal.
Yeah.
But the Bruins is like.
Yeah, but it was just like
It's no
it was kind of like a punching bag a little bit, you know?
You got hammers.
And now they're
18
doing it to
years.
the Leafs.
Exactly.
They're
Yeah.
doing it to the Leafs. We'll see.
Tell me
right.
about it. Tell me about
What
it.
happens?
I picked the Bruins in 3, but whatever.
Best of 5? Like
No.
back in the 80s?
Yeah, remember?
Just
Yeah.
like after 3 games, like go home. It's
Like, don't bother
Don't
showing up in the
bother.
4th. Don't even bother. I mean, it's anyway. Whatever. We'll talk.
But you
about
know,
that
one of these years, they're going to do it. It's like Neely.
I mean,
in
it's
88,
inevitable.
They finally did it.
Yeah, it's inevitable, right? It's bound to happen. But look, coming from a Leafs fan, man, look, if I can see this from here, there needs to be a change in Toronto. It's obvious. It's 7 years 8 years to this that it's not happening. So you have to change. What do they say that the meaning of insanity is repeating something and expecting a different result, right? It's not happening. And if we could see that on the outside, why? I mean, come on. They don't have the grit. They don't have the guts. They don't have that oomph. You know what I mean? That
Well, they keep making the same mistake.
It's the same
have
mistake,
They have
yeah.
the core. Gord Miller was on this right from the outset.
I love Gord Miller.
It's understandable why they would reach out and bring Tavares home,
yes.
but not at the contract that they signed him to. It kind of handcuffed them to address what they really needed at playoff time. And Tavares has never been a playoff performer. Maybe that changed. Maybe it kicks in suddenly. But he's a guy you can lean on in the playoffs, and there's not much pushback. Ryan Reeves is not going to be a factor in the playoffs.
No.
Joel Edmondson is broken down.
That's right.
Mark Giordano stopped being an impact player years ago. Everybody saw that around the league.
Man.
You can't bring in character if the character can't really play effectively.
That's
And
right.
so
There's no
that's the
point-
mistake they keep making
That's
over
right.
and over.
And Bertuzzi and Domi are not going to be the guys taking you to a cup. It's not happening.
It's like we've
not
said-
happening.
It's like we've said many times, you can't rent grit.
No, you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
You either have it or you don't. I mean, you saw it. We talked about it last time. Those years that when Washington won, you saw the look in Ovi's eyes.
The fire.
The fire, man. They don't have that.
They wanted it.
I mean, when William Nylander, and God love him, he scores his 40 goals every year. But when you go into a corner like this, like, you know, just reaching in, you're not winning nothing. You know, forget it.
Yeah,
You need to spit blood. I had that when we had Chris Nyland on, we were talking about all the guys. He goes, well, with Patrick Roy, he said he hated to lose. That's the guys you go to war with. Guys that cannot stand to lose. That's, to me, and maybe I'm older. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I'm old school. Those are the guys you win with.
No, you
know what I
can't
mean?
win. You can't win unless you have 20 to actually by the time the Stanley Cup final is over, closer to 30 players who are committed to listen. Go back if you haven't done it 100 times. Go back and watch the on ice celebration of the Forum when the Canadiens won the Cup in '93.
93, yes.
And I was there waiting for them to leave the ice. And Ron McLean is talking to Kirk Muller. Take a close look at Muller. He's pale. His cheeks are gaunt. He looks like a
Finished.
heroin addict. You know,
Yeah.
that's the grind.
Finished.
It is
There
the
you go.
toughest championship to win.
Absolutely.
And you have to be willing to pay the price. Even some guys who never got there, like Koivu. I wish Koivu had been
Yeah.
surrounded
I love
better.
him.
Same.
I remember when I talked to Koivu in his rookie year, I was doing a TV show, and they make you sit as close to as possible for the camera and the lighting.
Okay.
And I remember looking into him. He didn't have a nick on him, okay, in his rookie year. Fast forward 10 more years, and hanging around Koivu, his face was marked up, stitched up.
Yeah. What a star. I love
That's that's what it takes to win a
It's
championship.
exactly. It's with guys like that you win. Exactly my point. That's exactly my point.
Guys that play for the sweater, guys that really, I mean, guys
Mike-
like Sidney Crosby that they just play for that.
We've had this
sweater,
conversation.
And they leave it all on the ice.
Yeah,
That's what you need.
I don't know. I just find that doesn't exist anymore. So then
It doesn't.
No, it does. It does exist.
You
but
find-
in
you
too
think
many
so much,
instances- Yeah, but in too many instances, it doesn't. You're a Leafs fan. You're an angry, bitter Leafs fan. To you, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Because too many of their key players
No.
haven't figured that out.
Well,
I
well,
get,
we did
so I
have
get why
Dougie.
you think that.
Well, we did have Dougie. We had Dougie.
Yes,
we had Wendell.
champion.
You know,
Yeah,
we had
champion.
Wendell Clark, who's
Yeah,
a
well, he wasn't
beast.
a champion, but he was.
You know,
he was the right guy.
Played like
yeah.
one. He played like one. You know what I mean? There was guys like that. I just find I don't see that in the league anymore. Besides McKinnon, besides Sid. I don't know. Anybody else?
Matthew Tkachuk.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
He's more of a, like, he plays like a
Brady
little
Tkachuk,
douche.
too.
Remember the kid in the schoolyard that used to hit you and then run away?
Yeah.
That's what I find Matthew Tkachuk is. You know what I mean? No, seriously.
He's got
seriously.
fire.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
But it's
Just like that rat in Boston.
Yeah,
know?
fighting.
Anyway, so segueing into something else, Mitch. What do you think of today's brass in Montreal? Because as a Leaf fan, I think they're great. I think Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon are doing phenomenal work.
I think they are very smart, and you needed someone to bring in some fresh air after the Bergevin era.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Bergevin started off pretty well, and he made some very good trades, but he didn't know how to manage people in the end. He offended a lot of people. He offended a lot of the
old
greats.
guys.
He also, and I don't say this because I had a contentious interview with him after a terrible season. He took it personally. I didn't attack him personally, but he wasn't comfortable with the questions. I saw him at a couple of events after that. He refused to acknowledge me. I think he was put in a tough spot. He's not a general manager. He was a scout, and he was a talent evaluator, and that job entailed a lot more than that. And in the end, he lost his way, and he thought he could win a cup with Carey Price in goal, winning games 2-1. He thought he could go all the way and win a cup like the Kings did, but he whiffed more than he hit. But it was also just the attitude and putting down so many people and being dismissive. He soured. He really soured towards the end. I think he could see what was coming. Yeah,
yeah, it's like a bitter old man.
To bring in Jeff Gordon, who. Just by trading Derek Brassard for Mika Zibanejad.
Yeah, really.
You're the general manager of the year.
Yeah.
And he's made a lot of moves like that. He had a good track record in Boston. Everybody makes mistakes.
Of course.
The key is to limit the mistakes in a key market, especially Original 16. And and I know that when Jeff Gordon was hired, I can't say I wasn't caught by surprise that Marty St. Louis was named coach, but I knew that Jeff Gordon, when he was still with the Rangers, had tried to hire Marty to coach their American Hockey League team.
Oh, wow.
And he wasn't ready because his kids weren't grown yet.
That's right. They weren't.
So that was parked there in the back of Jeff Gordon's mind. And then you got Ken Hughes, and there's the Boston connection.
Of course.
And, it's players talk to each other around the league. And when you got a very, very player-sensitive and player-friendly front office for the Canadiens, that resonates. It may not turn into Steven Stamkos UFA signing with the Canadiens this year, but down the road, when they're really ready, when they're on the precipice of seriously contending, I think they will be able to track the guys they want to bring in
to put the finishing touches on the team.
Yeah,
absolutely. Look, again, coming from a Leafs fan, I think they're doing great work considering what I had for the last 7 years. Right?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, but
God.
Kyle Dubas, there was a love affair with Kyle Dubas. The entire analytics community thought this guy was the smartest guy in the National Hockey League.
I'm going to leave the table right now. If I hear one more guy say analytics, oh my God. What a stupid way to run a team. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I should have stayed in school longer. I don't know, Mitch. Maybe in baseball, I find analytics, it's more of a analytic kind of sport. And I'm not a big baseball guy, but hockey. Look, I'm a big soccer guy, okay? Now, you get guys that tell you, Spain had the ball 82% of the time the whole game. Yeah, who cares? For the 18% of the time that France had the ball, they scored twice. So does it really matter? Does it really matter that
it's like in the
whatever?
NHL at times. I think it's useful, but it doesn't define a team, and it doesn't define individual players.
That's right.
Like you're saying, sometimes a team, because they're outgunned, their strategy is to allow shots, but they try to keep them on the outside. So you look at the possession stats, and it looks like you're getting caved in, when in fact you're really under control. You're not. You're structured, and you know that you have a pretty good goaltender who's not prone to giving up rebounds, and you'll take your chances that way.
That's right. And you play the percentages.
You got to watch games. You have to watch games. At the beginning of this analytics movement in hockey, it was very frustrating because too many of them saw it as a black and white issue. And
absolutely.
life is not like that.
It's not, man.
No.
I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's because I'm older than you guys. Like,
But I think that it's a tool. Like it can be a tool to
yes,
use, and it's a tool.
but to
it's not
run your team strictly on that, I think is a mistake.
Yeah, it should not be the cornerstone of
It
what
shouldn't
you do.
be what you're building your team on. I'm sorry.
At the beginning, Corsi was being used as like the Bible.
Yeah,
It was like, what are you doing here? I remember reading score sheets, and it said shots, and it said attempted shots, and I could add at the end of the game, and I could see, oh yeah, the Penguins outshot the Canadiens 3-1 in terms of shots directed at the net. But I didn't think it was like I watched the game. If you watched the game, you could see how they dominated.
Yeah,
you didn't need numbers to reaffirm what you already saw with your eyes. But as it evolved and you got deeper stuff like defending against the rush, that's useful stuff that you won't find right in a online unless you go to the advanced money puck stuff like that. Natural. So that information is useful. I find it interesting. I also find the goaltending advanced stats the most useful to judge players by.
Right.
Yeah. But to run a team like that, find
No, that was the problem. And again, he reached out. What happened with Dubas in Toronto is he made some terrible moves in an effort to. I'm sure Shanahan was leaning on him to listen. You got to bring in some grit. So he brought in guys, gave up first-round picks for guys who were done, and he kept trying to.
We have nothing.
Oh, Joe Thornton is of course Joe Thornton fairy tale end. He's going to win a cup at the end of his career in Toronto. It's it's predestined.
Yeah.
So of course, bring in Joe Thornton who couldn't move.
But I feel like hockey is a very unpredictable sport to start off with. Anything could happen any game.
Absolutely.
So much emotion.
Analytics at the end of the day will only do so much for you. That's kind of where we were. Yeah.
To like I said, to structure your whole team around that, I find so. Look, remember at the beginning of these podcasts we said, because in Pittsburgh, when he signed Carlson, I'm like, here we go again. There's another Joe Thornton move, right? He did the same thing in Pittsburgh. I'm like, they have 7 guys that are over 32 years old, whatever. They don't stand a chance.
Confessively speaking, I was really rooting for them to get that wild card spot.
Same here.
It would have been a really nice story.
Yeah, it would have been a nice story.
I was impressed by that, but I want to see Crosby play with Connor Bedard at the World Hockey Championship. And Gord Miller told us today that Crosby, he's thinking about it. I mean,
he's thinking about going?
He's thinking seriously about going. Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
That would be
pretty cool.
incredible. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, that would be phenomenal.
I'd love to see that. Yeah.
So, Mitch, if you had a shot at the Canadiens today, what would you change?
Well, I wouldn't change anything. I would. I know what they're doing and what their plan is, and what they plan on doing is bringing in some legitimate impact offensive players. And if they can't get what they want for what they're prepared to give up, they'll wait until they get better.
There's the plan.
Absolutely. It may. Let's say we're at the trade deadline next season, and they're actually in the playoffs, and they're looking good, and they got momentum, and they're ahead of schedule. They may add a player that they weren't prepared to add to help the guys out. On the other hand, if they look on the ice better than they really are, to kind of get in the way of their long-term plan, they're not going to make they're not going to make a drastic move.
Like a panic move or kind of thing, right?
Yeah, or even if they're in a position like they're kind of in the playoffs or hanging around, but David Savard is at the end of his contract and he's coveted by a lot of contending teams. They'll move him if they get the right price, even though it'll have a deflating effect on the team because they know next year they're not a Stanley Cup contender.
Kind of like the Gensel move in Pittsburgh, right? Like what they did with Gensel this year.
They have to get younger in Pittsburgh. He had no choice but to do that. And in fact, I'd really like to know the in-depth backstory to him saying he's not going to work anywhere if it's not Toronto, and then winding up in Pittsburgh, a team that everybody knew had to rebuild. Everybody in the NHL had to rebuild. So how he's going to dance through this with those Hall of Famers on the roster it's going to be one of the most interesting off-season scenarios.
Yeah. One thing that I really enjoy about what Kent Hughes is doing here, and Jeff Gordon, obviously they got hand in hand, is how they're sticking steadfast to their plan. They resisted the media temptation about Pierre-Luc Dubois. They resisted the media temptation about Trevor Zegras. Yeah. They resisted all these...
for now.
Yeah,
Zegras for now.
exactly.
But I just think that, like no hasty moves just to appease
Like the earlier guys.
certain people, and rather they're just sticking to a vision. And I have to applaud that in a market where there's a ton of pressure. They're showing a lot of poise and a lot of focus. And I
You got to stick to the plan, man. You stick to the plan, and
And I think they're feeding off the fans because they didn't know if the fans. They were at such a low point. They knew that the first year would be okay. There's no expectations.
Yeah.
But to go an entire season at home, with the exception of the odd bad power play, there's been no booing at all at the Bell Center.
Yeah.
For fifth worst team in the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
So next season, the expectation will be raised a little bit, and they will be a better team. I cannot believe they're going to continue to go through this run of ridiculously bad injuries. Like they got to catch a break one of these years. 2 years ago, they set an NHL record for man games missed. They led the league again last year. This year, they're top 5 again. I mean, at some point, it's got to turn for these guys.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, Mitch, you mentioned the big three last time, right? Like a couple of minutes ago. And now, Norlinder, Reinbacher, Gooley, Matheson, Hudson, Harris, Barron, Mayu, Savard, Struble, and Jackay. That's a lot of D, man. And not for nothing, man, but that sounds really good in the future.
Sounds scary.
I think the main thing is going to be to try to keep them all together, right?
They won't be able to keep them.
Not all of them.
No, they're going to move. They're going to move. I think there's going to be a dramatic move involving at least one, maybe two of their defensemen.
Oh, is that
Look,
right?
Let me touch on Jordan Harris, for example.
Yeah.
I thought, other than the last game in Detroit when they went haywire in their own end, him and Kovacevic had a rough end to that game.
Yeah.
But Harris was really coming on at the end of the season. He skates so well, and he thinks the game so well. He could have a lengthy NHL career as a fifth defenseman, third pairing defenseman. Kind of like Ron Hainsey when he played. He played forever. He's got that kind of movement on the ice. He's so smooth and deliberate. He knows the game. He doesn't get beat 1-on-1, but he doesn't have great offense. He's not physical, but he's steady, and he skates so well. He could skate out of mistakes sometimes.
Yeah.
And he moves the puck well. And there's a lot of worth to that, but it's not a difference maker. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he's like that. Struble is got more of an edge. He's more physical. He's incredibly strong.
Yeah.
He had an up and down season, which happens a lot with young defensemen. But what is his ceiling? Is he a star defenseman? No. Mayu might be a star. Lane Hudson is close to being a star already. Caden Gooley's going to be, when he fills out a little, he's going to be.
What about all his injuries, Mitch? What about all his injuries?
It's a concern. Him and Kirby Dach. It's
Kirby Dach too. I think the challenge is going to be trying to keep your 6, 7 guys, 8 guys together. Make them grow together, right?
And healthy.
And healthy. Well,
that's what I was referring to, right? The luck has got to turn at some point.
It's got to turn.
It does. But I got to say, if I was I do like the Habs, although confessably, Mitch, I'm an Oilers guy.
You always have been.
And I always have been since the Gretzky days. Mm-hmm. However, so Yanni here is without a doubt our Habs fan, and he's if I was 30. What is it, 1 or 2?
31, going on 32.
Yeah, and I was seeing what they're doing there. I'd be pretty excited.
Yanni, I told you last time you should be excited because the Canadiens are going to look fantastic in a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honest to God.
And honestly, I feel, it was fun seeing them push for the playoff push we had during COVID.
Yeah.
Going to the finals was great. It was a nice experience for all these people that never got to see a playoff run like that. It was my first time seeing them get to the finals.
Yeah.
So it was great. But definitely, the future is very bright, especially on the defensive core. It's insane.
I like what they did for Fan Appreciation Night, right? They teased us a little bit, right? Hudson the night before, and he's on the power play, and bringing up Mayu to play a game. It's a
penalty shot.
And it's a difference, right? Like you see Mayu, he's big. You're not used to seeing guys who can generate offense who are that big. It's unusual. It's just they have to get bigger and a little heavier as long as key players on the team are as small as they are. Caulfield,
with the Caulfields
Hudson,
and Suzuki.
Newhook is a good player. He competes bigger than his actual size. He'll get 20 to 25 every year as long as
He got
healthy.
15 this year with all those injuries, right? He missed a few games.
He was just hitting his stride, Alex.
Yeah, I think
Let's
so.
not forget Big Slav.
Yeah.
Hey,
But
you know what? You remember everybody shitting on him? Remember everybody
was the
like,
first one.
oh, they
I was
messed
the
up,
first
messed
one.
up. Guys, relax, man. Take a pill. He's a kid. He just turned 20. Relax.
It's like Lafreniere in New York. This is
everybody. He's
season.
finished.
He finally broke out this series.
Relax. Wasn't it Lafleur, Mitch, that took like 3-4 years before he became Guy Lafleur, right?
Well, he had a good rookie year. 29
Yeah.
goals, 64 points. That's a good rookie year.
Yeah, it's
but
amazing,
it wasn't
yeah.
what people thought. 130 goals in the queue. He's gonna replace Beliveau. He actually, the passing of the torch from Beliveau to Lafleur.
Yeah.
He had a good, solid rookie year. And his second year, he scored 28 goals. But it's still, he wasn't a star. Third year,
right.
dropped to 21 goals, and there were a lot of rumblings. Then he took his helmet off.
That's right. And then
The flow.
the flow came out.
And that's when he became the Flower.
The flower.
Yeah.
You see,
It's,
3
for
full
me,
years before he became a superstar.
Yeah, you see? So everybody take a pill with Slavkovsky, man.
definitely,
Relax.
definitely.
Like everybody, he'll get there. Give him a chance, God.
He's showing quite a bit of promise already.
Definitely.
Dude, 20
Oh,
goals.
he's an impact. He's an impact
He's
star.
gonna be a good.
He's 20,
Yeah.
and he hasn't filled out physically.
Exactly. Can you
I don't know
imagine?
about you guys. When I was in my early 20s and started to get serious about going to the gym, and back then
Yeah.
it was Nautilus equipment, I mean, there was a dramatic change from like
course.
22 to 25. He's going to be
Absolutely.
a monster on the ice.
Oh,
Absolutely. I have a quick question for you.
But
Next
before
year.
we get to that, though,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Barron.
Oh, yeah.
I
Justin
think
Barron?
he's gonna be a hidden gem. I think for the Montreal Canadiens, he's really coming along now.
He's got 7 goals in half a season. His
Yeah.
offensive game, there's no question about it. He's got good. When you see the puck on Barron's stick inside the other team's zone, you feel like something's good's going to happen. Like he can hit, he could score, he could beat NHL goalies. The problem is he's lanky. He looks awkward at times. He doesn't have a smooth style like Harris. But a lot of those lanky guys, it takes a while to grow into their own bodies, and his feet sometimes get tangled up. He was first round pick. You could see the qualities that led to him being a first round pick. He's just got to get his defensive game straightened out. Yeah. And it may happen in Montreal. It may because of Mailloux. It may happen somewhere else. And part of a package where a team that's desperate for defensive depth end up with 2 or 3 of the Canadiens' kids.
Yeah, anyway, but let's not even go there.
No, definitely.
I'm going to mention 4 names to you, Mitch. You tell me who's going to be here next year, okay? Anderson, Gallagher, Armia, and Dvorak.
Yes. And I'm not sure. See,
Really?
Yeah, well, they can't. Well, first of all, Gallagher finished really strong. That's Brendan Gallagher. That was the Brendan Gallagher that we saw for the last 6 weeks of the season, who was a 30-goal scorer.
That's right.
Or when he was hurt, he scored at the rate of a 30-goal scorer.
Yep.
And he was. That's Brendan Gallagher. That is so. I'm so happy for him because he looked so sluggish and heavy on the ice early in the season, and he finally found himself. He said at the exit meetings that his suspension actually forced him to self-reflect and realize, that he had lost his identity. He didn't have a role. He's not. He was on a 4th line at some point. He's not a 4th line guy. So once Newhook, Armia, and Gallagher got together, that was a very effective trio.
Didn't Armia finish with 17 goals or something like that? 16, 17 goals?
He played in the AHL this season. Could you imagine
Yeah,
that?
I know.
Well, he got scared straight because he earned the trip to the American Hockey League. He was invisible.
That's
And
right.
he was timid. He was timid. There was no passion to his game. He was a passenger, and he got scared straight. But you never know with him because he could start off well, and then suddenly, like Anderson. I give Gallagher, Armia, Jake Evans, another guy who kind of resuscitated their seasons, but it never happened with Anderson. It's just so bizarre.
I love him. Mike, you remember from day one, I said, God, would I love this guy in Toronto.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs a new scenery. I don't know. Maybe he needs...
He might. He's at a crossroads. He's 29. He'll be 30 next year.
Yeah.
Some guys flame out. He's got a very physical style of play, but his skating didn't... he still got his skating. He still got his strength. He just couldn't bury pucks.
It's all in your
25
head,
game.
It's all in your head.
He never got it figured out. I think he'll bounce back.
No,
He's not a star
will.
player, but he's a very useful player when he's on top of his game.
Absolutely.
I think he'll
Big
bounce
boy.
back. Dvorak, I think Dvorak, he got off to a good start in his career with Arizona. I didn't mind when they reached out and got him.
Yeah.
When they lost Kotkaniemi, but he just hasn't been a real dependable player. He can't stay healthy.
Can't stay healthy, exactly.
He doesn't move well on the ice, but he thinks the game very well. He's got good hands, good at faceoffs. But they inherited him. So other teams looking for a veteran center with who can win draws out, especially out west where they know him well. They may be working out a deal where, you know, I don't know what it is, 4.25, whatever Dvorak's making. I could see them moving Dvorak, but the other three, because of the cap and the salaries, it's,
no one's going to touch
and
that.
listen, the cap's going up. It's not like it's not like they're a cup contender next season. So they don't have to really worry about the cap crunch.
Not now,
for another
anyway,
couple of years.
Exactly. Yeah. They can still chill out with these guys and just, you know, don't make any stupid moves or don't make any panic moves. They can still keep them, no problem. You know?
And then, of course, there's always the one other position that we haven't talked about in the nets.
Yeah.
Now, so we got Monty, and I think, I'll be honest, Mitch. Even if you watch the earlier episodes of ours, we all doubted him. We all did.
Yeah.
And full admission on that, we totally doubted him. But I think he's shown himself to be
Stellar season.
He's solid. He's a starting goaltender. He's not Carey Price, obviously.
How many people are?
Yeah, but he's proven himself to at least be a dependable goalie. The question is he just intermittent? Is he transient till the next guy, which everyone seems to think is Jacob Fowler?
Yeah.
Jacob Fowler
Is like
No,
where an organization that has classically had phenomenal goaltending finds itself in a rare position where we don't have that guy right now.
Yeah, you just want to have your goaltending not cost you games. And for Primo, in his last start, that was not a good start. He had a good year. Overall, he had a good year, Caden Primo. And it showed, I think, a lot of people how tough he was upstairs by not playing. And when he finally got a chance to play, he kept his team in the game. Last start against Detroit, not a good one. Last start for Montembeault, that was tough. Down the stretch, he got yanked against Toronto. But I'm nitpicking. Overall, the Canadiens' goaltending, among the best in the NHL 5-on-5 this season. Quality starts. Montembeault rarely let the team down. He himself admitted during the exit interviews that he wanted to do better against some of the better teams in hockey: Boston, Toronto, Florida, the Rangers. So he's still got room to grow. But again, it's not like the Canadiens are trying to reach a Stanley Cup final with these two guys. I think by the time they're ready seriously to reach a Stanley Cup final, at least one of them won't be here.
That's right.
So it's just minding the crease, keeping it warm for an elite caliber goaltender, whether that's Jacob Fowler or who knows.
Everybody seems to be talking
You know
about
what?
it.
Well, when we had Michael McNiven on,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
he made it very clear.
We had him on, yeah.
He said that, Fowler's the guy right now. The
McNiven
same way
seems to
he
think that
was,
he's
the
like-
same way Fucali was.
Yeah.
What's
Because-
McNiven doing?
He was out in France, actually. I've been talking to him
He's
quite
playing
a
in
bit.
France?
Yeah.
He was playing in France. He was playing for Gap.
Yeah. I felt so bad for him. He finally got into a game and he let in a bunch of goals. So his
Yeah.
career,
Yeah,
I
he
hate to
spoke
see
about
that.
it.
Poorly managed by the organization at the time, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, he said that they all thought
Super
about
nice guy,
him
though.
and Fucali and Charlie. Well, Charlie Lindgren's having a
I
stellar
am
year.
so happy for Charlie.
I
Lindgren.
know,
Honestly, it's just it's a great
Good for
story.
him.
They have no chance against the Rangers.
You
but
don't
I
think,
am
Mitch?
happy.
No?
Not a chance. They might get swept. Charlie,
wow.
maybe Lindgren can steal a game, but
Yeah.
that's a short series. But the fact that he managed to wrestle the job away from a Stanley Cup winner, Darcy Kemper.
Yep.
I mean, it's a lot to say for experience.
Good for him.
You got to take your hits, and I'm happy for Kirk Muller. He's their assistant coach there, so to see Kirk behind the bench for at least one
that's
more
great. I love
series.
him.
But the Rangers should walk all over them.
And Mitch, with all these guys we just mentioned, all these defensemen and whatever, they just re-upped Marty St. Louis today, right? Do you think he's the guy to steer the ship?
Yes, absolutely. He's the
think
perfect
so,
guy.
too.
If you're going to have X number of years developing young players, I think. Look, I was as skeptical as anybody was when it was first announced. It was like, okay, I remember Jeff Gordon tried to hire him, but he's been working with 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
And this is a tough market to be a
the
rookie
toughest
professional head coach.
Yeah.
But then at his introductory press conference, I was blown away.
Yeah.
And again, he's a hockey savant, is what he is, and he's always been thinking the game, and he's always picking brains, and he's breaking down film. You could hear the Canadiens players almost to a man say that he's such a great leader because he works as hard or harder than they do in getting them ready. So there's a lot of film work. He's a hockey. He's a rink rat, but he's also got the
play for that.
And he's done it. He's been there and he's done it, and he's overcome. He's a guy who was a fourth line role player and a penalty killer before he was waived. Yep. He was waived out of the league by Calgary.
Yeah, Calgary.
And made himself a Hall of Famer. It's a great, inspiring story, and I think the timing is perfect for. So you look at the contract, another 2 years. That means 3 more years.
That's 3 years. Yeah.
But it's 3 years total.
Total.
I think in that third year is when you'll see the Canadiens be serious. I think that's how it's timed out.
I think so too.
I totally agree, because we could speak. I mean, I never played the NHL, obviously not. I'm just saying, when you have a coach like that, players they gravitate to you, man. They want to play for you. They'll do anything for you. You understand? And so that's. I think he's the perfect guy for this team.
I personally think he's the best guy that's been behind that bench since Jacques Demers.
Years, yeah.
In
years.
I'm just happy they stopped recycling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
No kidding, man. For real, recycling. I thought they were going to bring in
talk about Alain
Vigneault
Vigneault coming back. Yeah,
that's exactly what I said.
No.
I thought Alain Vigneault was going to come back, or
Yeah, I got to admit, when they brought in Vinny Lecavalier to assist on the GM, I was like, so when's Brad Richards getting hired? we're going full Tampa Bay here.
Yeah,
like, what's happening?
Listen, these guys, they have a lot of attachment here to Montreal.
Yeah,
well, listen, you got a Boston connection in the front office, right?
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
no, it's great. I think they are, organizationally speaking, I think they have like the best front office they've had in a very, very, very long time.
Agreed.
It took that's what was missing during the Bergevin regime. Bergevin was basically the director of hockey ops, and he should not have been.
That's right.
He had too much power, and he abused the power the deeper into his tenure he got. And I think Jeff Molson also waited a little too long, but that's a moot point now. He did the right thing. He finally did the right thing. It might have been a year or two later than it should have been, but I think the Logan Mailloux thing and how it was handled.
Yeah.
I remember one moment when Marc-Antoine Gaudin on a conference call with Trevor Timmins asked him a pointed question, and Timmins didn't answer. He didn't say a thing for like 25 seconds. It was just dead air. And it's like, he's done. Timmins is done.
Yeah, well,
but they all had.
Yep.
They all had.
They all had guns.
They were strongest front office in the NHL physically.
Definitely were,
of course.
But the guys playing on the ice weren't.
Yeah. They had muscles in their teeth.
It's shitty. But I did have one more question. So, do you think that with the standard of Suzuki being the guy with the most money on the salary cap here in the Montreal Canadiens, do you think that's going to continue?
Yeah.
I
think
with the salary cap going up?
The Caulfield signing tells you that, right? Unless, I'm not, again, don't get excited, Steven Stamkos. When the Canadiens are ready, to seriously compete for a Stanley Cup, and there's a Stamkos kind of guy available to push them over the hump, they'll lock them into more than what Suzuki's making at that point.
They might push,
because it's somebody with a track record. So a difference maker. I mean, Suzuki wants to win the cup as badly as anybody. But when you're talking about it's like an internal cap, right? It's an internal cap. So why should anybody? Why should somebody make more than Suzuki?
Yeah, a lot of teams did that. The Bruins did that for years. Detroit did that for years. Remember?
Kenny Holland did that with Nick Lidstrom. He said, nobody on this team is making more than Nick.
Right.
Listen, but they won.
Pittsburgh did it too.
But they won, exactly. But they won. Mitch, steering a little bit away from the Montreal Canadiens. Again, today I saw this whole thing. Normally, I like Craig Button. I really do. I know he's a Montreal guy. I really like him. I saw him, I think it was yesterday, on TV, and he said, and I quote, "The Arizona Coyotes are good for the National Hockey League."
But what's the context? Like, what do you mean? That being in Arizona?
Yeah, or I guess as an organization,
not in a 5,000 seat arena.
Exactly.
So and I'm like, I had to rewind. I'm like, did he just like say that? Did he just say that? Because if a business loses millions of dollars over 30 whatever years, it's 30 years they're there, whatever, something like that.
25,
30 years, whatever. How can you go on national television and say the Arizona Coyotes are good for the league? What did he mean? That was my question. What does he mean by that? Is something I missed?
who knows if Austin Matthews would have been Austin Matthews without a franchise in Arizona. I think I'm guessing what he means in terms of selling the sport, and the Phoenix market is one of the top markets in the United States. That's why they've been so reluctant to leave there. But I think what's happening now is the right thing, and they're going to give this dude 5 years to figure out if he can win the land auction, and if he does, are you serious about building an arena? And we'll revisit this as an expansion franchise and pocket even more money.
And they're going to pocket it. That's the thing, because apparently this guy's going to he's going to have to buy it, right?
The key is to it's got to be near the Scottsdale area.
Yeah,
Right.
And so if they can make that work, but so that's what I'm guessing Craig means as a market population base. There's been a quarter of a century now of history of the National Hockey League. Austin Matthews, there were people always speculating that at some point he'll go home. Yeah. So exactly. I'm guessing that's what he means.
Because I also follow what's his name on Twitter, Sarvali, and he said, he didn't mention a name, but he said that he spoke to a player from there, and the player said to him, "We have an embarrassment of an arena. The plane is horrible. The food is disgusting." This is what he was saying. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude! Like, do you really need to say this out loud? Like, we understand, dude. There's more people at my shows, Mike. I'm in a freaking tribute band. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way.
No, it's Mickey Mouse. It's Mickey Mouse
stupid.
for the league. But
it's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's. But there's some part. Like, I'm not a big Bettman fan, but he went to bat for some teams in this country. Yeah. And he didn't want them to leave. And I wish somebody was like that in Major League Baseball, and with regards to the Expos.
That's how I was going to end it. That's what I was going to end it, Mitch. This is going to be my final question to you, buddy. So, what do you think we're going to see first, the Montreal Expos or the Quebec Nordiques?
Oh, you guys might be dead before you see either.
There it is.
I don't think Quebec is getting an NHL franchise.
I said the same thing.
I agree.
It's not happening.
It's just there's not enough corporate support, and it's not happening. It's just as long as Bettman is the commissioner, and maybe that changes when he moves on. But Quebec's not getting, and we're not getting an Expos franchise. I mean, Stephen Bronfman worked very, very hard. I know there are people in the Bronfman group, who are still hoping that in whatever form Major League Baseball will return to Montreal, and they're not going to give up hoping and working on it. I think it would require a different front person. I think Stephen, if somebody emerged like a legitimate Loria type, who was committed to Montreal. If somebody emerged like that, Stephen would obviously help out. But why does it always have to be on the Bronfman to make baseball work in Montreal? Where are some of the other Quebec families and Montreal families who have the passion for baseball? It's just people don't know. A lot of people, as the years pass on, people don't know what happened with Charles Bronfman. Charles Bronfman had a lot of local partners, Quebec partners, who bailed on him at the very last minute in 1968. And if he didn't decide to cover the loss of those partners and we would never have gotten the franchise.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Really?
If Guy Laliberté is listening, maybe you could take a crack at it.
No, he's too busy wanting to go to space or something. Doesn't he still want to go to space or whatever?
No, but I mean, honestly, I used to go frequent many Expos games, and I've been into Dodger Stadium to games. I've been to Yankee Stadium. I've been to Fenway. I've done a lot of those. Yeah. And I do miss the Expos, but I also, at the same token,
it's a vibe in the city, man.
It's really unfortunate the way it all went down.
Well, where I live, this is this movie by Robbie Hart, Corey's brother. Robbie Hart's a terrific filmmaker. He's been working on this film for 12 years. Knows I'm aware. The saga of the Montreal Expos. He started the camera. Right? He started rolling the cameras when Cromartie was after Gary Carter died. Cromartie got involved and saying, why is there no, he flew into Montreal and there was no indication baseball had ever been played. He started calling people, including Stephen, and nobody really was interested in talking about a possibility of baseball returning to Montreal. And Crow, very infectious personality, he just kept hammering away. And finally, Stephen and others started answering his calls, talking to him, and went, this Carter death has rekindled something. There is a lot of baseball in Montreal. We never had the opportunity to play in a downtown ballpark. And I don't want to give the whole movie away, but the saddest part for me watching this documentary, which is going to be released in theaters in early May across Quebec, is we see for the first time publicly what the Bronfman Group, what their project was. It was the ballpark was the jewel, the centerpiece of the project by the Peel Basin in the point.
Yeah.
But there was a whole other development involving local community events centered around some of the space that they were building. And that's when it hit me that, geez, this was, how could you say no to this? And it's about a 8-minute walk from where I live.
Oh my God.
So, it would have been perfect. So I don't think I'll see it in my lifetime, but
No.
who knows? Every time we started talking about baseball or the end of spring training exhibition games in Toronto with the Blue Jays, which I didn't really care about, but it got baseball in the discourse in Montreal again. There was always with a little bit of hope because of this Twin Cities approach that he was working on with Tampa Bay. And then it became deeper and deeper into it. It was becoming a reality. He was informed by the commissioner. He was on the right path and he was supportive of it. And so were the major league owners. So naturally, Stephen was incredibly enthusiastic. I know a lot of people thought it was a crazy idea, but it made sense. And then they got stabbed in the back by some of the members of the executive council. And so I think that the passion for starting up again is not there. And that's why I think somebody else could take the lead. Maybe you'll see an expansion team. I don't know. But it's hard to discuss the Expos now, knowing there's no team on the horizon, where even a year and a half or so ago, it looked like the return was on its way. And so that's depressing.
It is.
Oh man, that's terrible.
And it's funny that they're currently like still the 4th or 5th best-selling merchandise.
It's unbelievable. It's one of the greatest logos.
Even now,
the logo is incrable.
Yeah, to this day, you still see it.
It's amazing.
It's so cool to see, and it's not just rappers. Like I've been to New York a lot. I've been to Boston a lot. I've been Toronto a lot.
Yeah.
You see people with Expos caps on.
Everywhere.
Like walking to work, walking to school. I mean, it's cool. It's a really, and you know what it is, right? I mean, it's M. You guys know it's M, Montreal, EB. No, there are a lot of people who still think Charles got his initials in there, CB. That wasn't it.
No, it's an M. Yeah. Oh my God. Listen, man, I want to say thank you so much for doing this. It's been 57. Thank you so much, Mitch. Honest to God, to me and to all of us here, and a lot of guys, you're like Montreal sports radio royalty, man. And for doing this, we're a bunch of guys, just a bunch of friends that started this. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for doing this.
Invite me into your next show.
Mine? Well, shows. Well, yeah.
May 3rd, no?
Yeah, I'm at the playground.
Poker.
I'm in an ACDC.
I know.
tribute band.
Yeah. I know the Kastners.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in an ACDC tribute band, and
are you with Shane Andre, Shane's buddy, right? Isn't he in that band?
No,
Shane's
no, he's
buddy.
not.
No, is it a different ACDC tribute band? Did you guys not play at Piranha Bar?
No, that's not me.
That's a different one. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow, there's more than one ACDC tribute band.
Really? You think?
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
No, I tour around North America a lot.
yeah.
To like states and here till we
So
find out what's
are you
going on
Brian
today.
Johnson or Bon Scott?
I do both. Look, it's really weird. I told this story once. When I was a kid, somebody gave me a book because I was always into music. I was never whatever. I was a sports guy. Somebody gave me the biography, not an autobiography, a biography of Bon Scott, and I read it. I'm like, this guy's a wacko. I read what I'm like, this guy's not all there. I love him. He was a mental, like he was
perfect.
And I'm like, yeah, really. And all these years later, I make a living portraying the guy on stage.
Yeah. Just don't drink like him.
No. Those days are over, man. Those days are over. I can hardly stand up now without anyway. So again, Mitch, thank you so much for doing this, man. Greatly appreciate it. I love all the stories and like I said, you're royalty to us, man. So
thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Can you take me out with some Frank Marino?
You know what? So edit it up,
just
okay?
for you.
Okay, put up with some Frank.
We will do that. We will do that.
Yeah,
100%.
that would be great, man. That would be great.
And I'll send Frank your regards.
Yes.
Thank you. Please do. Tell him to call me back 3 years later.
Yeah, I know. If you tried calling his cell phone, that's a huge
not
mistake.
happening.
You got to call the house.
I don't know what number I have. I tried it several times. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Mitch. Thank you so much.
Mitch.
Thank you.
Have a great spring.
You too.